Evening all, Daniel Hand, RPG therapist, and today we're going to complete our story trinity by looking at the third and final aspect, the obstacle. Well, obstacles that we'll put in our client character's ways. This is where you'll likely most need your practitioner hat on, because this is where you start figuring out how you're actually going to help your client work on the presenting issues that brought them to you in the first place. So far, you've been able to rely on the client to do much of the creative heavy lifting. You know, they created their character and likely chipped in with quite a few ideas of their own as to how the setting would look and feel. Now, though, the onus really is on you. So, are you ready? Of course you are. When it comes to creating obstacles for RPG therapy, we have two considerations to consider. The RPG, i.e. the story you and your client are going to tell, and the therapy, identifying and working on the client's presenting issues. The best obstacles are those which manage to combine the two, which is to say, progress the story and give the client pause for thought on their issues, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll look at each of them in turn first. So, game or story obstacles are quite simply things that get in the character's way. There's something that the client's character either wants or needs, but they can't have it yet because there's an obstacle blocking their path, either literally or figuratively. Jason can't get the Golden Fleece until he's slain the Hydra, and he can't regain the throne until he's gotten the Golden Fleece. Spider-Man needs to save his dad, but a whole host of other spider people are trying to stop him. Luke wants to overthrow the Empire, but first he has to deal with their giant space laser. Twice. In Dude, Where's My Car?, Jesse and Chester need to retrieve their girlfriend's presents if they are to save their relationships. In The Big Lebowski, the dude must confront his wealthier namesake if he wants a replacement rug. Obstacles can be big. The world's about to end if I don't calm a malevolent spirit, or small, there's a tree in my way. They can be serious, like combat, or comical, trying to figure out a way of escaping a tryst without being caught naked. The point is, there's something that the character needs to overcome if they are to reach a desired outcome. In terms of gameplay, obstacles are where the dice tend to come in. The client, via their character, wishes to achieve a certain end. They roll the dice and see how well or poorly they performed. They swing their sword at the dragon. Do they hit? Miss? Drop the sword? A couple of weeks ago, my entire adventuring party was wiped out because the dice just hated us that day. I rolled 24 dice and didn't get a single 6. So when you're creating them, keep an eye on the client's character, their background, their adversaries, their hopes, their fears. An adversary makes for an excellent obstacle. A love rival determined to ruin the character's wedding, or the big business owner trying to procure, legally or illegally, the character's shop. As do presenting the character with their fears. If they hate heights, tell them they have to climb a mountain to find a magic item. Give the client a party of goons to fight and they'll usually be happy. Therapeutically, obstacles interfaced with the client's character are our best tool for expressly targeting the client's presenting issues. This is where that arm's length approach that RPG therapy gives us comes into play. If we can subtly challenge the client's character with obstacles, not necessarily similar to, but maybe inspired by, the client's presenting issues, that gives us a chance to watch and learn from the quote-unquote character's actions, which in turn can plant the seeds of the idea that maybe the client can tackle those problems too. But the key word, especially at the very beginning of the process, is subtlety. Don't just take the client's situation right down to the minutest detail and present it to the character. Take your time, build it up gradually. Is the client massively anxious about making decisions? If so, don't present them with the trolley problem in their first session. Just have the character walk through a forest and ask the client if they go left or right to get around a tree. And if they've been massively traumatized by some horrific experience or abuse, don't just replicate that experience and ask, how's the character feeling? Again, start small, start abstract. Maybe they meet an old NPC who only has one leg, and gradually learn the circumstances around how they lost the other one, how they felt, and how, or if, they recovered. What would the character say to them? How does the character feel about the situation? Only after those steps have been processed do you think, let's try a thought experiment. How does the client feel about the situation? This is where we inject the therapy into the RPG. The character provides us with an emotional case study, the setting frames the process, but it's the obstacle that lets us aim the story towards its therapeuticness. Yeah, that's a word now. If we maintain an eye on the story, we keep the therapy fun. If we keep the client's issues in mind and put some creative thought into how we might gently represent them, the fun stays therapeutic. Again, we don't want to drop them right in the middle of their difficulties. Drip, drip, drip is the way to go. Different games have different approaches to obstacles. Some are very simple, like roll a die whenever you want to do something. Others require a bit more mechanical awareness, so you have to memorize specific rules for specific situations, like using particular modifiers or abilities, and what the consequences for success or failure are. Either way, the trick to this form of intervention is to tie the therapy into the story. Give the character something to do, and make sure that that something to do is somehow relevant to the client's presenting issues. Externalizing the problem, i.e. making it the character's problem rather than the client's, means that those obstacles are just that little bit further away, which makes them easier to consider and to challenge. But what do you think? If you're a gamer, how do you go about creating fun, engaging, and if possible, story-significant obstacles for your players to face? And if you're a therapist, what do you see as being the most important part of creating therapeutically beneficial obstacles? Let us know in the comments below. While you're down there, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for further updates. Everyone, as usual, thank you so much for watching this video. I really look forward to speaking to you again next week. So until then, take it easy, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and have a good one. Cheers. Everyone, it's here! Role-playing games in psychotherapy, a practitioner's guide by some random bloke called Daniel Hand? Pick up a copy wherever you get your books, and obviously please do leave a 6-star review. I'd much appreciate it.